We are at a critical moment for Israel and the Jewish people. I think it's clear to everyone on this call that we're all confronting the coronavirus pandemic. And in the pandemic, there's an acute threat, and then there's an underlying challenge. The acute threat, of course, is just staying healthy or recovering. And one knows that in confronting this pandemic, if there's an underlying illness, it makes it much more difficult for a person to overcome the acute threat of the virus. The same thing in what we are dealing with here today, because we're not only dealing with the virus, we're dealing with a corona conspiracy, as part of our title suggests today in this call. And the acute corona conspiracy, as everyone on this call knows, is manifested through social network conspiracies from the Iranian regime against Israel and the Jewish people, from Turkey throughout the United States. Just go on to social networks. It's not a surprise to anyone. Israel engineered, the Jews engineered and spread this virus. The Jewish state engineered and spread this virus. But there's an even deeper issue, Ron, going on behind all of this acute threat of the coronavirus and the corona conspiracy pandemic. And that is what we call Israelophobia, which is a phenomenon that we at the Jerusalem Center gathered at the sanction and at the advice of Ambassador Gold a year ago to begin to study this phenomenon, whose principles basically intersect with the new anti-Semitism, and at the same time, this anti-Semitic or Israelophobic rhetoric is being masked and masqueraded in many circles in the West as political critique. And that confusion, meaning the masking of Israelophobic language against Israel as an underlying cause or an underlying condition that weakens Israel in the face of a pandemic or a corona conspiracy, accusations such as Israel is an apartheid state or a genocidal state or a racist state by its constitution, or a state that engages in war crimes. This type of rhetorical assault has been going on for some time. And as Ambassador Gold suggested, that our fellows and that our analysts and that our colleagues who are on this call, many of the invited guests on this call are authors in this compendium. We gathered at the Jerusalem Center last year to begin to understand what is the red line between Israelophobia as a version of the new anti-Semitism and legitimate criticism. Where are the guideposts? What are the principles underlying Israelophobia, and what are the principles underlying legitimate political civil discourse on Israel? So that gives us a little bit of context, and it really begs the question: to what extent is this entire discussion from the acute situation of corona and the corona conspiracy reality that we face today, and the underlying problem, Israelophobia, to what extent does that create a national security challenge for Israel and by extension the Jewish people around the world? So we invite everyone to come on to the Jerusalem Center site at jcpa.org and download for free the PDF file on Israelophobia in the West, the hijacking of civil discourse and how to rescue it, hijacking of civil discourse on Israel and how to rescue it. And I turn it back to you, Ron, having these contextual questions with us during today's talk.